Hello, welcome to our week 4 of the course on Marketing Management Advanced Concepts, or MM2 as we call it. And I have here my usual partner, Professor Shashi Shekhar Mishra, and I am Jayanto Chatterjee. We are both at IIT Kanpur. In the earlier week, week 3, Dr. Mishra has introduced to you all the fundamental concepts relating to brand, brand architecture, brand equity and so on. This week, we are going to look at some specific topics of with respect to brand. Particularly, we will try to study managing brand globally over the life cycle of the product, over the life cycle of that category or the industry. We will try to develop the broad canvas, business canvas, where brand makes its mark, and we will also look at brand management and its complexities on this big business canvas and try to understand the portfolio approach or multiple facade of the strategy, which we call brand strategy. Today I am going to discuss some of the global dimensions related to brand, and I will also try to bring to your notice the challenges that marketing communication faces in the context of brand management in this global scenario. So, whether you look at this business to consumer, which we call B2C arena, you will see that these brands are as local as they are global. So, in the context of brand management, this word local is quite popular, that is, think global and act local. So, Coca-Cola is a global brand, it retains many of its global properties that create its global image, that creates preference for Coca-Cola, but it also repositions that brand, that global brand which is associated with youth and with style and with urbanness in India. For the rural market, the repositioning is done with a communication package that says Thanda Matlab Coca-Cola, which actually combines vernacular language, combines the traditional international image, and tries to bring together this globalness as well as the local appeal. All of the other brands that you see there, Colgate or Olay or Tide or Starbucks, all these brands are now as present in India as they are of course elsewhere in the world. And we will discuss.
I will just add what you just said, because if you go to the major part of the country, what you will see is that people going to a shop and they will say Thanda de do.
And that really?
Yeah. So, from there this word has come in the research and they have picked up, and that is where they have linked Thanda matlab Coca-Cola. So, the category has been linked, and that leadership has been tried to establish to that connotation.
Oh, that's how they developed that campaign. Very good. And we will look at some of these campaign issues, this whole issue of think global and act local today through some of the other examples. When it comes to the B2B or business to business arena, again on your screen you see a host of global brands, very strong, many of them very strong in India. Some of them like Siemens are present in India for almost 100 years, and so are Citi or Federal Express. We were discussing about ingredient brand. We will discuss it even later in more detail, but you see some of these brands like Airbus, what we come in contact with is the service, the airline service of Indigo or Air India or Jet Airways. But today we also pay attention that what kind of aircraft they are flying, whether it is an A320 or a Boeing 747 and so on. So, you see, in a way these brands go beyond the front line, and even we learn looking inside the front brand, which is Air India, and we become conscious about that what aircraft they are flying and such questions. There lies the power of brand which today, particularly in the B2B arena, have to go beyond the first step and may have to go several steps into the value chain, back into the value chain to create strength. So, later on we will discuss the whole issue about how Intel Inside created a brand, a great case of brand strength creation. You will also see on this screen we have Wipro, Infosys. These are Indian brands which are now global. So, you see, brand has this challenge that it has to address the global arena. It has also to be meaningful in the local arena, and sometimes a brand which becomes salient in the local arena will have to then make itself relevant for the global arena. So, this is a continuous challenge.
I think your slide actually busts the myth of among the academician that the branding is all about B2C. Brand don't exist, but your slide shows excellent examples of some of the brands which exist in B2B.
Absolutely.
So, it basically busts into the two type of notions that brand is all about emotional, they don't have functional value, which is not true. The second thing is all B2B decision making process or the decision makers, their entire decision making is rational, which is also not absolutely true.
Absolutely.
And the existence of these brands prove these two myth or notion to be not so correct.
And as I would like to discuss today, that a brand has a big role to play in the buying process.
Yes.
By taking away uncertainty and reducing the perception of risk. And that is a strong play in the B2B arena, that at the end when there are say a Siemens and ABB,
very close
competitors. So, in terms of logical reasoning, they will almost be, you know, just here and there. So, as we say in local language, since we are talking about local, like 19 20. But then at the end, the decision is taken almost on the basis of certain emotions, some sense of security, which is taken felt by the top management or by the small decision making unit at the last stage. And that is why these brands, they do have to build themselves, maybe based on service, maybe based on assurance, maybe based on fit and forget sort of approach. That means fundamentally you have to create the impression in B2B arena that if that brand is chosen, you will have good sleep at night.
Yeah.
So, many of the factory managers, presidents of large companies, they prefer these companies, as I think there is a famous saying that you can never be fired if you choose IBM.
IBM,
You know, there are
nobody has been ever fired.
something
by
like
choosing
that.
IBM.
So again, that actually highlights
The
that
personal-
the sense of security that these brands tend to create.
Yeah.
Also, these companies need to develop even their this is another aspect of branding. Normally we associate brands with the product and the service, but these days the CEOs of companies, they are as relevant for the branding exercise as their products and services. So Richard Branson, his brand Virgin, straddling multiple markets, be it airlines, be it different kinds of cargo services, telecommunication. So this company has to build the Virgin brand across multiple businesses, which we will be just now discussing some of those strategies, but they have to also separately build the image of brand Richard, and you know, his flamboyant personality, his many different feats that he attempts, and so that makes the story of that brand much more
the
human.
brand association get transferred through the image of the CEO.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as we will discuss that these very large corporations, while they have to develop the product brand, but there can be very large businesses like Reliance where the product itself, you know, the gas or the petrochem, yeah, that is that branding is in any way pushed back towards the corporate brand. And when Reliance develops its corporate brand, it has to take a multifaceted approach. It has to focus on various kinds of philanthropic activities of the Ambani family and so on. They have to go beyond the usual logical pillars, and they have to create an aura of many other things, and that is something that I want to discuss over this session and the next session. So again, as you see, whether it is Warren Buffett or Ratan Tata or Mahindra, so they are product brands and the personality brands of the CEOs and the managing directors, chairman, they all are become very important. That is why, you know, in case of Warren Buffett, we have this Buffettology. It is almost like a financial investment strategy, and by that they bring out, the brand brings out the whole story about the success, about the business strength and all that. The branding is also important in the not for profit market. So these are some of the famous, like CRY, Child Rights and You. It is an Indian brand, but today it has also global footprint, and it relates to many agencies abroad. And so you can see here again, brand is very important to attract the donors, and to create the resources, and also to make the reach out possible.
We also, I mean, like this is cause marketing or
yes. So they are often related to cause marketing. Cause marketing, of course, is often also used by for profit organizations. But branding in the not for profit organization, in that area, is by itself quite an interesting exercise and interesting studies. If you look at UNICEF, or you look at Red Cross, or if you look at various other trusts who are operating in India.
WHO,
Now today, very interestingly, just like the social media, you know, in that domain, a very popular word is mashup, where actually you take information streams from different sources and put them together to make some meaningful presentation. So I have tried to create this mashup or cloud sort of image to show that the brands kind of connects to different facades of our life. So here, as you see, whether it is IPL, India, very popular cricket league. So the teams like Chennai Super Kings or Kolkata Knight Riders, but they are also associated with famous personalities. They are also associated with various kinds of
Brands.
internet or high tech companies, also commercial brands.
Yeah.
So, or B2C brands. So, this B2C, B2B personality, event brands like IPL or all they are all connected, very connected today.
Yeah.
So, it is very difficult to these days, and I think I just use this slide to also sort of project that maybe 5 years from now, when we have this discussion, many of the traditional definitions of branding, that brand is for more for consumer goods or brand is based on emotion, many of these and brand is kind of a complementary to factual type of marketing or logic based marketing. All these I think will take new meanings in this all the time connected and always available sort of world, the 24/7 world, and this ubiquitousness of the social media I think will make brand in many ways much more relevant, but many of the traditional definitions of branding or many of the traditional approaches to brand building perhaps will become irrelevant.
Yeah.
So, new meanings will come out. So, usually brand associations are about more concrete things like product attributes, customer benefits, factual things blended with culture, use, emotion, sense of security and all that. So, in a way the brand association for to become effective, it must have some solid strong points coming from those origins, as well as it must ultimately tell some kind of an interesting unique story. So, this is usually how the brand association work, which you have also referred many times in your last week's discussion, that brand recognition to brand association to cognitive and affective judgments, where this is where the point is coming, that it is not only the affective or emotion part. Today the brand also is based on many factual and concrete data often, because earlier it was difficult. Now people can immediately search for cognitive inputs and specification data, mileage, bit rate, communication speed, all these things in any purchase,
and also the users can read the reviews and find out
and the other users review.
Even in B2B domain, the same in industry, the competing companies sometimes share the information. That's also.
So, in fact, what was earlier used as a so called endorsement marketing or celebrity endorsement or reference marketing is now not driven by the companies. It is actually customers drive it by sharing their own experiences, and that is why the social media influence is now a strong element to consider even for B2B, even for very mundane engineering products. So, this I borrow from a very famous 1992 research, which actually showed earlier the power of branding. This was a very interesting controlled experiment they did, and this is actually from that book, Creating Powerful Brands, that they did a blind test, and that means they did not reveal what brand they were.
Half the respondent were blindfolded.
Yes, and half had actually. So, these are two parallel experiments. So, very interestingly, when there was no brand shown, then they preferred Coke, preferred Pepsi, and say this one tastes better. But the moment the brands were revealed, the people say no, this is the Coke is better. And you see how much more how strongly it shifts.
Yeah, the swing
From
is very significant here,
yes,
44 to 65%. On
exactly.
the other side for Pepsi, it almost came by the same number, which is 28.
Yes.
That comes from 51 to 23.
So it shows the power of brand,
Brand.
power of brand tradition, power of brand history, and continuing relevance and so on. So this is why it shows that the cognitive or logic based customer's judgment will
Is
swing.
also, yeah.
You know, when the
Even that
customer
is
just
also-
relied on his or her own taste
Yeah.
and made that cognitive judgment,
Pepsi
so
was
Pepsi
seemed to
was
be
better.
better.
But the moment it came, it changed.
So even the performance of the product is also being influenced by the presence of the brand.
Absolutely. Customer will almost ignore to
Yeah.
some extent the performance part
Yeah.
because of the belief that is created
Or
by the
we can
brand.
say that the way they look something, a product offering, they start looking more positively towards a favorable brand.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They will often overlook some of the shortcomings,
Yeah.
or they will overlook some of the strong points
Of the
of
competitor.
a brand which is weaker.
Yeah. So it takes us to probably back to some of the points, the benefits of the brand that customers have. Strong brands generate a lot of, very high loyalty, and they keeps the competitor at the bay actually. So the competitors will not be able to penetrate in your market so easily.
Or even it will be costly
To
to struggle with an incumbent, challenge an
Yes,
incumbent
yes.
brand, which you had discussed in the
Yeah.
last week's session. I think what I would like to start is perhaps I would like to end today, just I will take a couple of more minutes and introduce a small exercise, and that is that you see, to end the last discussion we were having, that if the coffee is presented to you just as a normal coffee, your satisfaction perhaps goes up when you see that it is coming from CCD and you are ready to pay more, and or the taste of the beer or the water perhaps changes
you
in your
feel
mind.
you feel the water is more pure or more safe for
Something, you know, that is caused by the branding effort. So the exercise which I was trying to leave, on which I wanted to close today's session, is for all of you, take this up as an exercise which you can submit to the forum, and that is, suppose you want to launch a new beverage, you want to develop a new beverage product, and you want to launch that in the market. And as you see here, we have looked at that where all you can position your product, individual at a level, you know, right at the bottom, where you will actually highlight the product itself or the product line or the group of product lines. So where should it, so suppose you are a large player already in the food and beverage market, and you are a new brand manager in such a company, and the task that you have, that company wants to launch a new beverage, and you have to select where all you want to position that, whether you want to focus only as a product brand, or you want to focus at every level of the pyramid or only 2 levels of the pyramid. So look at this pyramid very carefully and think about it, and we will start from here tomorrow. Thank you.